Morning, everyone. We'll start with the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Board of County Commissioners. It is January 12th, 2023. It's hard to say right now, 23. I'm not used to that. On my left is Commissioner Aaron Mays, who represents District 3, and on my right is Commissioner Kevin Cook, who represents District 2. I'm Bill Rippon, and I represent District 1. So good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Madam Clerk, what's the first item?
First item is item 3, consent agenda.
I would move that we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. Opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item 4, new business A, County Clerk, number 1, consider all voucher payments.
We have vouchers this morning that total $1,589,812.62. Highlights out of that voucher report: payroll makes up the majority, $434,191.81. Under our health insurance premium, $83,086.09. That's for our health insurance for employees. Holding accounts with the state of Kansas is $76,063.46. Other highlights, as under building and maintenance, is central mechanical construction for $15,574.76. For HVAC repair at Central Park Community Center. Under community corrections and state grants is $65,484.50 for 6 months office rent for community corrections. Under the detention center, Armor Health of Shawnee County, LLC, for $356,666.66 is January's medical health services at the Department of Corrections Jail. And under information technology is Tyler Technologies of $23,826.77 for touchscreen readers, time clock. I don't have any questions. I would move for approval.
Second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item A2, consider correction orders.
I'll move for approval of the correction orders.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item A3, consider approval of the annual renewal of industrial revenue bond tax exemptions. And Commissioner, this is for the 2023 year. A through F, these are all of the industrial revenue bonds that the county currently has, and these are their requirement. They're different than EDX's, but because their requirement is they have to pay their in lieu of tax in full by December, and that's how we verify that they so qualify. And all of these have done so, and they are a 10-year bond unless the bond is paid off earlier. Sometimes they've done it, paid the bond off early and then it goes away. So this is the list for this year. A, Cedarhurst of Topeka Real Estate LLC, and this is their first year. Walmart Fulfillment Services LLC, this is their second year. Topeka Grand Real Estate LLC, this is their fourth year. Topeka Hospital, which is St. Francis, this is their fifth year. Heartland Health Holdings, this is their seventh year, and Federal Home Loan Bank of Topeka, and this is their fifth year.
Okay. Any questions or comments?
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Mays, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Next item.
Item B, solid waste, number 1, consider approval of a request to reclassify a solid waste welder position to a solid waste collector position with an annual savings of $2,690.
Good morning, Commissioners. Bill Sutton, Shawnee County Solid Waste. I have one welder position that is unfilled. We really do not have the space or the workload to justify filling that position. So we'd like to take that position, and it is budgeted, and reclassify it to a collector position, because I can always use collectors. This has been run through HR and the bargaining unit. There's no issues in that regard, and it'll actually yield a small savings to my annual budget if approved. Subject to your questions.
Any questions?
None?
I would move for approval.
Second?
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item B2, consider approval of request to award bid number 55-22 to Truck Component Services for the purchase of 7 rear-load refuse trucks for the amount of $1,023,085, including trade-in. Funding for this request will come from the solid waste operational budget. No tax dollars will be used for this request.
Good morning, Commissioner. Bill St. Shawnee County Solid Waste. Last fall, we went out for bid for 7 rear-load trash trucks. We had 2 vendors that submitted a total of 6 bids. I'm requesting to award this vendor here, Truck Component Services. It was not the low bid, but in our opinion, it is the best bid and most responsive. It fits in line with our current fleet as far as the body, or the bodies of the trucks. As you know, you have the chassis, you have the body, and we want to kind of stay away from some of these other bodies that are out there. So this does come in under forecasted budget that was approved last year by about $58,000. And I stand by for your questions, gentlemen.
Commissioner Mays.
Bill, it looks like the big difference in these bids is the trade-in value more than anything else.
Yes, so Truck Component Services, they were a little bit light on our trade-in, but they are pretty equitable on the top side with the price of the unit itself. If you notice, they all have pretty much the same chassis, the Internationals, but it's that body style that's different.
Is it not possible to ask the other vendors for that type of body style? I mean, I ask because it's almost $30,000 more in trade-in value per vehicle on some of these other ones.
Yes. So the way is to put it in layman's
Is this like
terms.
proprietary, or are they the only company?
It's like
Okay.
different dealers. So you have like a Ford dealer, Chevy dealer. We'd be asking like a Chevy dealer to do something with a Ford body in those terms.
Okay.
Bill, do you have what's the life expectancy of a truck like this, or do you have a scheduled rollover of equipment?
We are on a basically a 5-year plan to refresh our fleet. That's a pretty aggressive, but after that 5-year mark and after those warranties start to expire, especially in the emissions area, things start to get pricey very quickly. So we try to keep our fleet within that 5 years for that warranty period.
Commissioner Cook, do you have any questions?
Are there other people besides Truck Component Services that have Loadmaster XL?
Not in the area, sir. Obviously this went out for bid through our portal, and these are the vendors that responded. The new way, you have the Cobra Magnum, and the HC. The HC and the Cobra Magnum are too small for our fleet, so the next comparable thing would be that Cobra, and we've had a few of those, and we've had issues with that body.
Any questions?
I guess, yeah, what kind of issues? I mean,
So
are there
typically,
hydraulic problems, or?
it's the blades, because you have 3 blades on there. And the 2 rear blades, we've had issues with them breaking, the hinge joints on them. And with the price of steel, it's upward. It used to cost about $2,500 per blade. Now we're north of $5,000 to $7,000 for those blades when they do break. And we've had some break twice a year, which can increase our repair costs.
Any other questions?
I will move for approval, but noting that this is an exception to the lowest bid, but going to what the department head has qualified as the most qualified bid. And so I would move for approval.
I'll second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Bill. Next item.
Item C, Information Technology, number 1. Consider out-of-state travel for 2 employees to attend the Central Square Engage 2023 conference at an approximate cost of $3,500 per employee, with the registration, travel, lodging, and other miscellaneous expenses paid from the 2023 Information Technology budget.
Morning, Commissioners. Mark Price, Information Technology. This is a request to send 2 of our employees to the Central Square Conference. The Central Square Finance Enterprise Conference is covering our ERP system. This system covers everything from payroll to accounting in the county and is used by every single department. One thing you'll note is this is a little higher than last year, and that's kind of taking into account I might have these employees drive due to flight issues. We've not made that decision yet, but we're keeping that open in case, flights become a problem. It's in Nashville, so it's close enough they can drive, and I think the kind of balance is about equal whether they fly or drive, and I don't want them to be planning on being at the conference and then have a flight cancellation and miss part of the conference.
Questions? I would move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item C2, consider approval for the renewal of a security monitoring platform through the State of Kansas contract pricing at a cost of $119,775 to be funded by the 2023 Information Technology budget.
Good morning, Commissioners. Mark Price, Information Technology again. This is a security monitoring software we put in place last year. This does offer a third party is actually monitoring our devices, so if something happens 24/7, they are evaluating what the situation is and, if need be, acting upon it. We have had a few situations where they have stepped in and addressed a situation. It's been very nice and handy because 2 of those situations were overnight, where if that would have happened, it would have required someone catching an email and then me tracking someone down to come in after hours and address a situation. They've not been major situations, just something's happened, it stopped it and prevented it. So I think the first one was within about an hour of the initial detection. The situation and software was removed and prevented from even having anything to do offside. The computer wasn't, the website was opened on. The second situation, I think, actually was resolved even quicker. Last year, after we signed this contract with this company and brought the software in, MSISAC, which is a multi-state agency that does negotiations for software, entered into a similar agreement with this company. If I remember correctly, it's about $20 less per seat, per computer we put it on. I did evaluate and compare the two. The biggest reason I continued with the agreement we have now is because it offered that 24/7 monitoring. If we would have switched to this MSISAC agreement, it would be they would contact us and we'd have to go back to trying to get someone in and address the situation. I determined, I think it was about a $25,000 difference, that money is well spent because we are taking care of the issues almost immediately comparative to having to pull in extra employees, pull in overtime, and address that situation internally by being able to remotely have a company handle it, like say 24/7 SOC, which is a security operations center. They've got people sitting there monitoring it and handling anything that is detected on our servers and computers in real time.
Mark, have we priced this with the 24/7 without going through the state contract? I know sometimes it seems like it's not always the cheapest way to go.
We have not done a direct outside of the state contract. When we negotiated it and, got pricing, what everyone said is this is the best, state contract is the best price in this situation. When MSISAC did their pricing, because like I say, it was a cheaper cost, they're giving us the pricing of MSISAC's talking like, I think it was about 20 to 30,000 devices they're putting out, and that's the pricing we're getting as with state contract pricing. So everything appears that that is the best pricing we can get.
Okay.
Any other questions? If not, I'll move for approval.
Second.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item C3, consider authorization and execution of contract C18-2023, renewal of one-year Cisco Duo MFA licenses for multi-factor authentication at a cost of $36,777 with funding from the 2023 departmental budget.
Good morning, Commissioners. Mark Price for the final time. This is just an annual renewal of our MFA software, and I can answer any questions if you have them.
Question?
I'll move for approval.
I'll second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Mays, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Thank you.
Item D, Appraiser's Office, number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C19-2023 with Panda Consulting for consulting services for our GIS department with a project total of $3,000 with funding through Land Records.
Morning, Commissioner. Steve Bauman, County Appraiser. This GIS consulting service is a continuation of our conversion to our Parcel Fabric software that we've worked on. It's for our GIS team to get, I believe it's planning, technology, or not technology, implementation and training for use in this product. And this is funded through Land Records, thanks to Becky Neosi's Land Records Fund. So I'd be happy to try and answer any questions as long as they're not too technical.
Any questions?
No questions
I
from me.
would move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. Opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item D2, consider out-of-state travel for our GIS manager to attend the 2023 ESRI conference with an estimated total cost of $2,300 for transportation, lodging, and per diem to be paid from the appraiser's 2023 budget.
This is for our GIS manager to travel to our ESRI conference. It's the premier GIS conference in the world. There's over 16,000 GIS professionals there. It gives our GIS manager an opportunity to stay on top with upcoming technology and ideas, and it's been very beneficial in the past as he's helped develop the apps and things like that for not just our department, but others as well. So appreciate approval for this, and I'd answer any questions.
Any questions?
I'll move for approval.
Second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Mays, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Thanks, Steve. Next item.
Item E, Elections Office, consider approval of resolution number 2023-3, authorizing the destruction of qualifying ballots, supplies, et cetera, by state law and the designation of election office staff to be present during the destruction.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jake Fisher, Shawnee County Elections Office. And as the clerk stated, yes, we are asking for approval of a resolution for us to be able to destroy any ballots or any other materials per statute that currently meet the statutory requirement and time period, or anything else that will meet that time period in the calendar year 2023. And I would stand for any questions.
Any questions?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Mays, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Jake. Next item.
Item F, Commission, number 1, acknowledge receipt of the resignation of Doug Mays as Director of the Sherwood Improvement District.
All right. I understand Doug has taken on a new role, requiring him to step down from this position, so I would move for to approve Doug's resignation.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
I
Next
considered voting no on that, just so you guys know.
You're going to make Thanksgiving and things like that uncomfortable, aren't you? So, that's it. All right, next item.
Item F2, consider the reappointment of Brian Armstrong to the MTAA Board by Commissioner Rippon.
Okay, Brian served one term, and he can serve another term with MTAA. And Brian, engineer with Bartlett and West, he's here today. But I would move for approval of this assignment.
I'll second, but might also ask Brian if he wants to say
Sure.
anything about what the MTAA is up to, or what they do, or why he would want to be on it.
That's what you get for showing up.
I know, Bill said I could stay home. Yeah, thank you, Commissioners. Brian Armstrong with Bartlett and West. I am finishing the term that I filled for Jim Renner as he left and moved to Kansas City. I think I've been on about 2.5 years of that term. Really enjoyed the opportunity to serve on the MTAA board, and there's a lot going on. So currently, we have a new terminal building at Philip Billard that's about to get under construction. It'll be adjacent to the existing building, and we'll eventually replace that building with parking for the new. We have abruptly taken over the FBO at Philip Billard. Our FBO abruptly resigned at the very end of the year, and so a big scramble to take on employees and equipment necessary to operate the FBO at Billard, and a very timely response from staff in taking that over. We have a lot of other projects underway, a new passenger boarding bridge at the Forbes Airport that serves people boarding and unboarding planes. It was in disrepair. We have a new fuel farm under design for construction next year. But bigger picture, we're really focusing on trying to look at industrial growth of the airport and the ability to attract businesses and airport industry to our community. I think that's a big focus of us moving forward. I know that we have a strategic planning effort planned for this year to focus on that very area. And specifically, I know Commissioner Mays went with us to Wichita. Wichita State University, their program, NIAR Works, is a really big industry converting giant passenger planes to industrial package carrying type planes. That program through the legislature is potentially planning to expand to Salina and potentially Topeka in the future, and that would be a huge undertaking. We have a study underway now that now is at the FAA for approval, but looking at how we would build a site big enough for 2 giant hangars to fit multiple 777s in each for such a project in the future. So we have a site plan, a site located on the Forbes site, and FAA now is approving sight lines and the layout, and then we can really start talking about how we fund that to have something in place prior to maybe getting some of that industrial work here in the community.
Sounds like a lot going on. Thank you, Brian.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I would move for approval of Brian.
And I seconded.
Okay, seconded by Commissioner Cook. Did we vote on this?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay, good, I just wanted to make sure. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Brian. Next item.
Item 5, public comment.
Okay, we have one person signed up, Henry McClure.
Morning. Can I hand you guys something? Can I approach?
Sure.
Approach the bench, Your Honor. Morning.
There we go.
You got the gavel.
You have a copy for Ms. Beck?
I will email.
That'd
I
be
can
fine.
hand her
Yeah,
mine.
that's
I'll
fine.
give you
Quick.
my copy
Okay, that'd be
Monday.
fine. Okay, great, thank you.
Good morning. My name's Henry McClure.
I'm a real estate developer in Topeka and a commercial real estate broker. This month, it marks my 40th year for joining the Macerich Company. They were the second owners of the White Lakes Mall, and they leveraged White Lakes into becoming the third largest mall owner in the country. I remember it being about 3 or 4 degrees when they called me up and they said, "We have a position for you in Winter Park, Florida," and it sounded like a good idea. I never hated Topeka when I left, and it just looked like a great opportunity. And after living in 10 cities later, I was actually back in Florida and I wanted to come home. I didn't really want to raise my daughter in Los Angeles. It just wasn't for me, but so here I'm home. And so retail development is in my blood, that's it. You know, I'm a deal maker, it's it. And what I need, what I'd really like to get you guys to focus in on, and focus in on in a different way, that we really need as a community to support economic development with the very funds, the very funds that are created from sales tax. So today, under your current contractor's guidelines, a retailer doesn't qualify for economic development because their job is not a job. So just real quickly, let's just run this down. This is the way it works. If I were to do a deal with the Pizza Hut to do a distribution center, or if Pizza Hut was here to do a distribution center, they'd given a code name, there's a lot of secret meetings, and they would figure out how to enable Pizza Hut to get a distribution center, and it would be a great deal. But when the Pizza Hut distribution guy puts a box of pepperonis in the car and he drives over to the retail store and hands it to the very guy that created the pizza, that created the sales tax, to give that guy a job, that job doesn't qualify. And so what I need to do is I need to convince you 3 and 4 guys at the city that supporting retail development is a good thing. So let's start looking around. Look at our mall, look at retail development overall. You know, I tell you, I sold Matt Pavarnak his house out on Lake Sherwood. And during the time of selling, you know, the head of the chamber, you might know him. Yeah. But, you know, he said, you know, we're real close to taking this deal, you know, to be, you know, join the chamber and work here. But Wendy's very concerned about retail and the mall. And, you know, I don't know if today we would get such a nice couple to come to our city based on if that were the litmus test. So I've got a deal with Pizza Hut today to go behind California Crossing out across from Dillon's out at 29th and California. I'm just asking for infrastructure. My idea is to make it to where, and let's just say a job, you're never going to acknowledge that the guy making the pizza is a job until you're in line wanting it. But if we just put infrastructure into the dirt, make it to where a guy, it doesn't matter who you are, but if you're taking a vacant lot and you're going to build a building, you got approval to do it, you can prove you can build the building, that's going to put property tax on. And what I'm saying is when I originally went around for Yes Topeka and promoted this idea of this sales tax thing. It was a 1/4-cent sales tax. And it was to broaden the tax base and make land shovel ready. And I just think from the time we approved it to today, we've lost sight about it. But if we just make it very easy that anybody could walk in, fill out a form, hey, look, I need to extend the sewer, I need a water line, and I need this electrical. So it's just in the dirt. And it can be reused. If you consider today, I heard today that you guys are without water around here. So if you imagine the developer, and sometimes our community has put too much on the developer when it comes to the ability to develop. Oh, well, now we need a traffic study and you got to redo this road. And there's, over the years, it's put a lot of burdens on the developer. There's a developer friend of mine that lives down in Florida, and every time I come up with one of my harebrained ideas, he goes, life's too short. It's just too tough to work here. There was a fella that had built a hotel and some restaurants. He was in front of city council the other day saying, it's just too tough to develop here. And if a guy like that can come there and say he's tired of developing in this community, it's exhausting for me because I'm just a one-man show. Yeah, I can do deals under the radar and sell here and not have to come for approval for anything. But I literally want you guys to start thinking about just deal by deal. If we would have started fixing the water lines years ago, you'd be drinking water all the time. And if you just start putting money into infrastructure for guys that want to build buildings and create sales tax. So the Pizza Hut deal, let's just say it throws off $43,000 in sales tax and property tax. Well, you do 10 of those, that's a pretty good deal. But the main thing is what you do is you make it to where anybody, Mark Rezak, Mike Morris, Doug Bassett, everybody can come in and get the same thing. Doesn't matter who you are, or what the deal is. You're gonna pay sales tax, you're gonna pay property tax, you're gonna build a building, and you qualify for it. You've got $2 million in carryover money that wasn't spent from last year. So your current contractor wasn't able to make deals. And the threatening thing to your current contractor is the fact that in my deals, there's no sales cost. You're not paying me a salary. You've got 10 people. You're paying 10 people to advise the community right now in economic development. And I bet you, in a week, I could probably come back with 10 little deals right now. And we could take that $2 million carryover and we could get infrastructure. But you've got to give it to where the opportunity, where the little guy can come in. Keep trying to bag the elephant. But the best way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time. So just consider redoing, as the JETO members over here, of what can qualify for economic development. Fundamentally, it's wrong not to want to support anything that creates the very funds that create the money for economic development. But do it differently. Do it for infrastructure. You never buy equipment, you never help finance equipment. If you're not going to say it's a job, well, that's fine. But help, think about it, the brittle water lines that are in here. We open it up and then all of a sudden we're fixing, 100 feet of water line. All right, so moving on real quick. So and mainly, I'm here today begging you for the opportunity to be able to come to JETO directly. So if your contractor and I have opposing ideas, there ought to be a way, an individual, it doesn't have to go through your contractor. I'm down here willing to risk all these invitations that I might get to Topeka Country Club to stand different, to be different. So I've got the Pizza Hut, I've got a request to just fundamentally change the way you do, or at least be more open-minded to deals you're consider for JETO. And I've also got a hard deal, and I'm trying to work through the chain of command. I sent it to my representative, my commissioner, and then I sent it to my city council person. I've presented to city council, and here I am selling my heart out. I will tell you, we bought out a ground lease that the Macerich Company did in the 60s. We put mainline printing in the the old Gordman's building, and I walked through mainline printing yesterday, and I couldn't believe that the printer that they're putting in. I mean, there's a piece that wouldn't fit in this room, and it's gonna go on for another 100 feet. The printer that they're gonna put in Gordman's is $1 million more than the land and building that they paid. I've got one deal I can talk about, the Dutch Brothers Coffee, because they've signed their contract, and they'll be taking the pad where the old Bennigan's was. And then I have another deal that would be between old Bennigan's and Car Hop up on the front of the remainder land of the Gordman Center. And this person has a store on Wanamaker. They'll be opening up their second store. Their average sales are annually are $4 million. And to think that this deal, based on your contractor's criteria, doesn't qualify for a nickel of economic development, there's a fundamental problem with the way you're doing it, or they're doing it. But you hired them. I'm really, so when I get this contract from the big deal done, I will probably give notice to the Wild Horse that is month to month that they'll need to vacate, because that real estate will just become more valuable than Wild Horse. And then we will consider marketing it to other people. I'm actually trying to get Mainline Printing to buy the building. They have a sign company that they own. They could actually move it in there. Their sign company they bought from another business in town, they've run out of room already. And but it's really fun to see Mainline from the day I sold them the old Sears building in '04 to their sales volume today. It's phenomenal. And as you can tell, I like what I do. I'm going to be around, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to wear you out with deals. You know, that's the only thing I know how to do. So as soon as we figure out what we need from Dutch Brothers, I'm going to make a request nicely for some infrastructure help. As soon as I get the really big deal signed up, I'm going to make another request. We've got money to do it, but fundamentally, it's the right thing to do. Let's extend sewers. Let's get those water lines fixed. Let's get people in business. I'm not saying that you just lost Hills. Why'd they go to Kansas City? There's a certain part of quality of life that people want. Kansas City's got a lot better retail. I don't want to leave Topeka. I don't want to give up. I'm just not smart enough to give up. But I will tell you that the mainline, or my client that owns the old Gordman Center did what's called a 1031 exchange, and they rolled their money from the mainline sale into a 35,000 foot building in Kansas City that's just gorgeous, and they're getting an 8% return on their money. And it's right next to Von Maur out at 135th and Metcalf. It's a beautiful building. But we need to figure out how to get guys like him. Just roll your money back into Topeka. Let's create, we need to create some ways that the little guy has got a shot. I'm the CFO or CEO of a very small company, 44 years in the business, and I'm here to stay. So thank you so much for your time. If you had a question, I'd answer it, as long as it's not too technical. But thank you. In closing, you've given me a lot of time. I appreciate it. I do want to strongly suggest going back to the Metropolitan Planning Commission. Because our problem in the community is we got too few people making all the same decisions. And, after Brown versus Board of Education, our community changed forever. My grandfather was head of 501, and he implemented the change. But a lot of people moved out to the county, and our community is the border of Shawnee County. And we need to collectively have our planning collectively as one community, one voice, everybody there. And the little guy's got to be able to come have a voice. So I really appreciate you letting me bend your ear and try to sell you. So thank you.
Thank you, Henry. Anyone else wishing to speak? All right, next item.
Item 6, administrative communications.
All right. Administrators.
Good morning, Commissioners. Teresa Fisher with the Health Department. Next Friday, January 20th, we will be celebrating a public health nurse and leader retirement at the Health Department. Diana Yates is retiring after 17 years of service in public health. So she's leaving some large shoes to fill and taking a lot of wisdom with her, but we wish her well. We will be at our J.P. Lewis location from 1 to 3, so we invite everyone to stop by, thank her for her service, and wish her well in retirement.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Bill Sudge, Shawnee County Solid Waste. Have two announcements. First, I'd like to announce that we have a opt-out function up on the solid waste webpage for those recycle customers that want to opt out of recycling starting February 1st. To get to it's real easy, snco.us/solid waste, and it's right there dead center. It says recycle opt out. Fill out a little simple form, hit submit, and we'll take care of the rest for you. The second announcement is in observance of Martin Luther King Day next Monday. The office will be closed and there will be no collection services. Our Monday customers will get picked up on Tuesday, and our Tuesday will get picked up on Wednesday, and that'll be our double day then. And holiday rules will be in effect, of course. So thank you.
Bill? Anyone else wishing to speak? All right, next item.
Items 8, executive session.
We do have a need for an executive session. I will move to go into executive session for a period not to exceed 15 minutes for the following reason: to discuss employer-employee negotiations, whether or not in consultation with the representative or representatives of the public body or agency, specifically to discuss negotiations with the Teamsters. And why don't we meet in why don't we just say 10 o'clock? Give us some time to, so that's my motion.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. So. Ready? All right, we're back in session. No actions taken at this time, so we're adjourned.